Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HCW Podcast. This week we will be reviewing WWE Friday Night Smackdown, WWE Monday Night Raw, and AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Stay tuned, it's going to be a good one. Roll intro.
HCW Reviews.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Frozzy, back after my holiday last week, celebrating a nice little anniversary in Edinburgh. Rate shaking his head, so he had to do it solo, and I did actually tell him quite last minute as well. So yeah, that's my bad. It was like the day before. I was like, by the way, I am not going to be here. So yeah, that happened, but the video did quite well. So yeah, rate views. That's what it is.
That's all it is. Yeah, it's all about me.
Yeah. So, but how are you doing anyway, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You noticed I'd rather do it by myself than bring DP in. That's how.
I was going to say the video went half an hour less because DP wasn't here.
Yeah, I threatened it. It's just DP's like recording schedule. I'd rather just not. That's pretty much.
Yeah. You'd have been on till like 10, half 10.
And I was like, nope.
Because of DP and his life of mystery.
Yeah, he's a mysterious man, people. Don't ask him about stuff; he'll never tell you what's going on.
No, he won't tell you nothing. No.
But yeah, I'm doing well. It's nice to have you back, Frozzy.
Yes, it's nice to be back, mate. So yeah, I've got nothing coming up that should hinder any plans going forward. So you'll be seeing me for the foreseeable on a recording on a Thursday. So obviously the video goes out on a Friday. So but yes, we are going to review the wrestling from this week, as I said in the intro. So why don't you kick us off with Friday Night Smackdown?
Yeah, so blast through that. So it started off with good old Roman and the Bloodline and Sami. So Sami's doing his handshakes and crap to all the Usos and going right solo, and he tries to fist bump Roman, and Roman ignores him and walks off. So that's not good for Sami.
No.
And then straight away, we kick off into my match of the night, which was the Viking Raiders, who actually had a decent matchup when WWE just didn't shaft them, against McSheamus, I've called them. I don't know what they were actually called, but I've called them McSheamus. I think they've got a name.
Yeah, they have. What is it? Oh my god, it's like something bros as is it bros?
Bros? Bro bros? I don't know.
No, I'm gonna Google it now, and this is very unprofessional.
While you're doing that, don't worry. So yeah, it was just very much. While I was discussing it, I really like the match. I rated 3 1/4 stars, but I feel like it's very confused booking. The Viking Raiders, they've brought them back, Valhalla and everything like that. Been smashed in the first round by a Franken team.
The Bangers Bros.
So McSheamus. Yeah, it was just I liked the matchup. It was a good match. There was good attacks. It was just I don't understand what they're doing with the Viking Raiders.
No, I don't get what they're doing with the Viking Raiders, but I also thought it was very easy to predict that Sheamus and Drew McIntyre were winning here.
Yeah, what was anyone that was fighting Sheamus and Drew McIntyre were losing. So why do it against the Viking Raiders? At least do it a second round or something. But good overall match. We had Zayn backstage, and
just before you move on to that bit, they did mention Jay Briscoe, which I thought was a good touch.
Yeah,
under Vince that would not have happened. So
yeah, it's last. Oh no, it's because it happened the week before, didn't it? And then Raw had already happened. Yeah. No, that was really nice. Like, obviously, when we get into the main bulk of Dynamite, because obviously the main event was. We'll get to there. But Zayn was backstage with the Bloodline side of it. So Roman was basically saying everything's fine, but he was quite disappointed about what had happened. And he just told Sami to get out of his office. So that was fun. Next up, LA Knight. He basically just said that Wyatt is confused. He doesn't know what's going on. Is he Uncle Howdy? Is he not Uncle Howdy? What's going to, Fuki Wyatt? And then he ended up facing Brett Jones, who is Ren Jones, who I've seen a few times. I rated 4 stars because it was just an instant death match squash,
Yeah, what it needed to be.
And then the Funhouse returned, and I really enjoyed the Funhouse. I'm going to ask because it was proper, like, it was all dusty, and and then you had Bray with his crack out like a plumber, and then it just all went quite dark. So I'm just finally his match is going to happen this Saturday, and it's going to be right. That's what I'm looking for.
Do you not think he's going to lose?
No,
I think he's the character who can lose, and it's still not matter.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on if they're going to introduce someone, or as in like if they introduce another member of the Wyatt family or whatever it's going to be. The circum Wyatt 6. Because they could top it off by Bliss beating Belair this weekend and get her the title. And then what have I wrote here? Scared of the dark. Push your problem. I don't know what I've written. I think that might have been about the Funhouse promo, but I don't even remember what that is.
No, I'm just looking at notes here, and I can't.
Yeah, I'm going to skim past that because it just seems not important. We had the Lotharios versus Hit Row. I rated it 3.25 stars. Yep, Hit Row are awful. Awful tag team. I think Triple H forgot the only good thing about Hit Row was Swerve Strickland. And he was like, oh, yeah, Hit Row. I remember them. They were decent. Then he's kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it's wild because they've obviously brought them back, and everyone was kind of excited for about 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's because they're crap. Like, they've been top dollar over himself. He tried to do a dive the other week and literally went about a yard an inch off the air and nearly fell and killed himself. Oh, they're just bad. Like, and I feel bad for Los Favarios because they're decent wrestlers, but never to be seen again. Next up, we had Sonya Flair in the ring, and then Deville comes down, and then she discusses that she deserves a title match. Don't know how she deserves a title match. She tapped out, and then Pierce comes down, and then Deville just cheap shops Charlotte. So even though she deserves the title, the only way she's getting the title is if she winds Charlotte up, is pretty much what's going to happen. And Charlotte's like a massive babyface. Massive babyface.
Yeah, no, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, like she was hated when she was back, but yeah, fair enough. I do like Charlotte anyway. Roman and Heyman. Roman basically, Heyman was discussing with Roman, saying it's better for Sami Zayn to be in the castle and peeing out than being outside the castle and peeing on the castle. I did like that line. Next up, we had the Brutes versus Imperium. I rated 2 3/4. Like, I expected a lot more, but I think there wasn't enough time. And the Imperium just absolutely won clean, which I was really surprised by. So Imperium are through to the next round. Next up, my match of the night. No, not really. MMM versus Legado. I rated 1 3/4. They're terrible as well. Triple M, awful tag team. Needs to get off my screen. And Legado del Fantasma are really good, so I'm hoping the second round will be fine. But yeah, that's the only reason I got rated a bit higher. But yeah, this awful tag team. Top dollar, Triple M, get them in the bin.
We also get Shayna Baszler in the Rumble, by the way.
Oh yeah, I've just literally, just so we know, I've skimmed every package that mentions the Rumble, because it's just people going, I'm in the Rumble, gonna win the Rumble.
You've also skipped over Karrion Kross.
Yeah, Kross is in it. Yeah, I literally, every time I saw a video package backstage, I knew it was just they was talking about the Rumble, and I didn't care, because none of these people are winning the Rumble. If Karrion Kross wins the Rumble, I would delete this channel. Imagine if he wins it now, Jesus Christ.
I know, yeah.
I'll delete DP. Next up was Reigns. Reigns was apologising to Sami. He said he lost his tent, but it's all on him. He's got to defeat KO and stuff like that, and he doesn't want to see him until... I know that was on Raw when he was saying he doesn't want to see him until after at the Rumble. And then we had Reigns come down to do the contract signing, about to get in the ring. KO just absolutely obliterates the whole of the bloodline somehow, stunners everyone, and then powerbombs Reigns through a table. And then Sami turns up, not really delayed, and then runs him off, and Kevin Owens makes it seem like he's running him off. So, who knows what's happening there?
The worst thing about this whole thing now, the show itself, is that technically the main event's the last match, which turned out to be Legado del Fantasma against the Maximum Male Models, which went 2.5 minutes.
Yes. Yes, it did. and it was 2 minutes longer than it needed to be. Awful time.
It's just mad that is technically your main event, even though you've had the segment at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, are we saying that Zayn turns or gets turned on?
I'm saying Zayn turns on them, and I think Zayn's going to go. So I don't know. It depends on how they're booking the main events, but I think Zayn and Owens are going to go for the tag titles.
I think that'll be Mania, and I think Zayn and Reigns at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, because there's rumours of Reigns versus Austin now, isn't there?
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Wild.
I'm hoping they do something because Austin versus Reigns. I don't want to have a title on the line because I know Reigns is winning.
Yeah.
Because unless
it was the same with The Rock.
Yeah.
It was the same with Rock.
Like
you know he's winning if the title's on the line.
I like the thing of if they have 2 nights and they have Reigns lose the title on the first night and then he can face Austin or The Rock. I don't mind then. I just don't want him because it will just be instantly, oh yeah, this is going to be a good main event, but also I know who's winning this.
Yeah, it could be the Elimination Chamber. He's forced to defend one of them in the chamber.
Yeah.
And lose.
To Zayn.
Which is how you could set up the Austin match, because Austin could come in, stun him, cost him the match in the chamber.
Oh, is there a chamber pre? Oh, was chamber pre to WrestleMania, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't
yeah.
realise. I thought WrestleMania was the next event after Rumble.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to double check because
there normally is an event between.
Pay-per-view schedule. Let's have a look. New Year's Evil, Royal Rumble, Vengeance Day, Elimination Chamber on the 18th of February.
Yeah, they need him. If he loses the title, that'll be fine.
Yeah, he can lose one of them there. He can lose the other one to Cody on night 1. And then he can fight Austin or Rock on night 2.
Do you think Cody's going to win the Rumble?
Yeah.
Because they've announced it so many times in advance, I feel like there's going to be a swerve.
I think they ruined it by announcing it anyway that Cody was going to be in it.
Yeah, but they're also...
They missed it.
There's going to be a lot of surprises, isn't there, supposedly? So I don't know if Rhodes was never going to be a surprise because everyone predicted him to come back. Supposedly, WWE have offered a lot of one-night contracts to people. And that's like people
for
like
New Japan, apparently.
New Japan Impact, people like that. Zack Ryder's going to be one. Yeah,
Jay White?
Yeah, Jay White might be just coming, though. That's the WWE.
Yeah.
But either way, we'll see what happens.
But
Let's move on.
Well, we'll move on to Raw 30 or Raw Triple X, which don't type that into Google because
yeah, type it in. I'll wait.
I've got parental controls on me.
I don't. Type it in. Type it in. Do it. Triple X Raw. So yeah, kicked off. Really surprised it kicked off with Hulkamania. Hulkamania runs dementia. That's what it felt like. I felt bad for him because it's Hulk Hogan. I don't mind Hulk Hogan, but also he was only supposed to do one thing and the mic didn't work and he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they gave him mic at the end and it was really bad. And he was only there for 5 seconds and it was ruined. So we started off with the trial of the bloodline. So I'm going to go out here on a limb. Instantly, Paul Heyman made this great. Because I just didn't expect it. I was going, oh, okay, so Roman Reigns is the one that's against Zayn. Paul Heyman's is pretty much on the fence. The Usos love him, and Solo's just there. Paul Heyman, I want death for Zayn.
Yeah, ECW is dead, and I wish the same for Sami Zayn.
And I was like, hold on. And then they showed the exhibits, and they were really good. It was like, look how he's fact you here. Look how he's done this. Look how he pushed you here. And then Sami Zayn steps up and he goes, you know what, I can't believe this, what you've done and stuff like that. And he just goes, I've got no defence. And then Roman comes up with a good line, which I really like. It's what, you think you're that big, you don't have to defend yourself. You don't need to, you're bigger than this, are you? And stuff like that. And then you go, Solo! Sick him, basically. Solo's about to wham him with his Umaga spike. And then Jay saves him.
Yeah.
And then Jay's got his own exhibits, and it's just like, oh, look at him, Sammy saving the day everywhere, pushing everyone. And then eventually Roman goes, you're not guilty for now. And yeah, that was a very good segment. It ran slightly long, but I didn't mind because I like the bloodline, I like the Usos,
Yeah.
It's good segment.
It wrecked the match further in the show, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But it also added to it as well in my mind that kind of like the ultimate kind of heel. As we get there, it's kind of a heely thing to do. So we had the Judgment Day versus the Usos. This was also my match of the night. So both cards. So the first match on the card was my favourite match. 3 3/4. I rated this. Very, very good match. I like the story of it. The whole like Jay gets injured. Then they like everyone was hinting. Obviously, with the Judgment Day, it's definitely a Freebirds kind of thing, as in like they're just called the Judgment Day, whereas the Usos are the Usos. So you were thinking, oh, can Sami Zayn jump in? And then Pierce kind of go, and then everyone's cheering for it, and then he goes, actually, because it's Raw 30, we'll do it. It's not just because it can happen. And then Sami comes in, and they end up he ends up nearly losing 3 times, and it was like, oh god. Like, they're going to bury Sami here. And then he ends up picking up the win. And it was just like a proper emotional moment. Sami's done it for the boys. You know, Jay loved it. He loved it. And then, like, Roman's like, you know, I don't want to see him until SmackDown now. No, I don't want to see him to Rumble. He's not supposed to be on SmackDown. So I'm assuming on SmackDown he's going to appear.
Yeah.
And he's going to jar Roman somehow. Next up, we had JB out backstage, Texas, with the Godfather. And he's about to go to the poker night, but Corbin's not on the list, and they kept going, who's this stooge, which I loved. Then they go, oh, can I speak to the manager? Ron Simmons walks through the APA terrible flipping door gimmick. And then they pay him, and then it's like, oh, you are on the list. Damn. And then next up, LA Knight. LA Knight's calling out people, you know, any legend back there, you know, want a piece of, LA Knight. And out of all the people LA Knight could have accidentally called out, The Undertaker.
Not just any Undertaker, though.
The American Badass. I wish he had Roland, I'm going to be honest, but he came down to the Kid Rock thing. So he came down on his motorbike, did a lap, got in the ring, and then they're kind of staring, and LA Knight basically says, you know what? I'm giving you a pass. Fair enough, LA. About to leave, and then he's halfway up the ramp, and then Shatter by Code Orange comes on. Bray's walking down. LA Knight's too scared, so he rolls in the ring. Undertaker grabs him by the throat. You think I'll choke slam, and he actually just feeds him to Bray Wyatt, who just absolutely obliterates him in the ring. And then they have a special moment where Undertaker whispers in Bray Wyatt's ears, which I think he announced on Twitter what he said. It was like, we live for these moments or something like that. Everyone's career is made on these moments or something like that. But a passing of the torch. Nice.
Yeah, no, it was good.
And then
enjoyed it.
There was supposed to be like dirt sheets came out as well, saying that Undertaker told Vince after their match they need to look after Bray Wyatt. So then they released.
Yeah. I was gonna say Vince did well. Said no one ever.
Yep. So the cage match was up next. So Bayley and Becky in the cage. So what happened was Becky came down. No, who came in first? It was Bayley was already in the ring, weren't she? And then Bayley was already in the ring. Becky was coming down, got absolutely mauled by toxic attraction by Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Tied her up, battered her, absolutely obliterated. And then eventually, after 15 minutes, then Adam Pearce comes down, breaks through the cage, and then toxic damage control stands sit on the top of the cage, and that's the end of the match. So it wasn't a match.
No.
And the reason for that, as Frozzy alluded to, the Bloodline segment went way over. So they had to cut the match. They decided.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there was other stuff they could have cut, but you know.
Like, they decided it was either you go 2 minutes in a cage match or you make further the angle, and it was like, I'm glad they went, you know what, we probably should further the angle in that case.
Yeah.
Next up, a segment I liked where some people didn't. The DX segment. Akin found it funny. So DX are coming down, and there's 5 members, so instantly you go, oh, no, is that Billy Gunn? And you realise, no, that's Kurt Angle. So they get in the ring, and then they're doing the usual DX spiel, and then Triple H, they turn around and go, hold on, Kurt, when did you get here? And he went, I've always wanted to be in DX. And then they do all the DX spiel. Then here comes Gunther with Imperium. And I was thinking, they're going to have DX fight Gunther and bury him. But then Gunther basically says, you know what, you've ruined wrestling. And then what I really liked about it is they all back down DX. Like, Triple H was going nose to him, and he went, no, I'm retired. And then Shawn Michaels was like, no. And then the other one, I think it was Xbox, said something. And then my favourite one was Road Dogg. He actually started to say something. He was going, you know what? Yeah, who am I kidding? I ain't going to do this. And then they all huddled and went, you know what? You can fight Kurt. And Kurt was like, no.
Yeah.
And then they decided to bring someone down. It was Rollins. And I was going, oh, this is going to be good. Gunther versus Rollins. Like, I thought they were just going to hotshot it on Raw. And I was like, I don't care. It's going to be a good match. And they went, you know what? It's still 3-on-1. We've got someone else. And I was going, oh, who's it going to be? I'm really excited. Street Profits. And I was like, oh, God. Why?
Yeah.
Like, it's just Street Profits are so worn down. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about the Street Profits at all. Then they had a fun segment where they were going, you know what? We'll introduce a special guest referee. And then for some reason, Kurt Angle's also got a ref shirt on underneath.
It was the part about where they were looking to make the match official, and Triple H saying, "Why does everyone look at me for something like this? This booking stuff isn't easy."
Oh, and then I completely forgot. Yeah, and then prior to that, Teddy Long as well.
Yeah, it's a tag team match, player.
I wanted him first to say, "You're going to one-on-one with the Undertaker, player one."
Yeah.
So Imperium versus Rollins and the Profits. I called them the Seth Profits. I rated 3.25 stars. Really fun match with the Seth Profits winning, which was expected, but Gunther didn't take the pin, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Backstage, Corbin wipes the floor with everyone in the poker and wins all of the money. Then IRS comes over and goes, you need to pay your taxes, and just grabs all the money and puts it in there. And then Ted DiBiase goes, ha, 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 ha. Next up, Lashley, promo backstage, kind of skipped it until MVP came along. MVP's hinting at him to come back to the Hurt Business, but Bobby Lashley wants to deal with his own business. It's definitely happening, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
especially because he's feuding with someone, as we'll get to there. But there'll be no point of them not doing the Hurt Business now. So we'll see what's going on with that. Next up, we had Flair. Woo, Flair, Ric Flair. In the most awful suit I've ever seen in my life, but still, a bit of Ric Flair. Ric Flair bigging up Charlotte. Then Charlotte bigging up that she's the champ of all champs. Then Blair comes down and goes, you don't go here. I always love that line. And then she's the champ of champs. Here comes Sonya Deville. Deserve a title shot. Sonya, leave me alone. And she went, you know what? You want to fight the champ. You didn't say which champ. And she ends up fighting Bianca Belair. I rate that 2.5 stars, that match. Absolutely average. And then Bliss does a weird promo where she's looking into the mirror, but speaking at Belair. And, she's speaking about her eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she's going to win. I think she might win. I feel like Belair's cooled enough for that to be Bliss to win the title.
I don't think Bliss wins.
I think the Wyatt thing's going to happen, or Gowdy's going to get involved.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know, because that ruins Bianca Belair.
Yeah, but she can have a normal match, can't she? With Naomi when she returns. Sonya, yeah. So then Miz was up. Miz was going, it's the biggest Raw of ever. Where's Miz TV? Stunner by Kevin Owens. New champ. That's pretty much what's going to happen. That's his whole promo. Main event, Theory versus Lashley. No disqualification. I rated 2 3/4. I don't mention much of it. It was just a bit of an average kind of brawly kind of thing. Kevin Patrick is an idiot. Thingy pulled out a fire extinguisher. Theory pulled out a fire extinguisher and sprayed Lashley with fire extinguisher. Kevin Patrick, and I quote, "What is that?"
I never even noticed.
Fucking. But luckily, here comes Brocky Lesnar. F5's Lashley. And you think, oh, he's going to be friends with Theory. As usual, Theory gets it as well. F5's Lesnar, S5's Theory on to Lashley. It was really cool. They did it, but perfectly pinned. And then Theory still retains the title. And then Lesnar walks off, and Raw cuts off within within a second. I think they ran over so that much, it just cut off. But yeah, that's the end.
Mad that on a 3-hour show there was 4 matches.
I wasn't bored either. That's the worst thing.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say it wasn't a boring show.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely had a lot worse shows on. So
Oh no, yeah, they've definitely
Uh,
had a lot of Raw shows. It was just I'm very much a what's it called where you like nostalgic. I'm very much I like
yeah,
just seeing randomly like IRS appear on my screen, which says
yeah,
something for wrestling. If I rather see like flipping DX in the ring and
yeah,
still doing comedy than Baron Corbin, it's on.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a very nostalgic week on Raw, with it being the 30th anniversary. We've obviously got Cody in the Rumble. So Rumble this weekend. We will review that on this show next week.
More than likely, because I don't think we'll have time to do it randomly. I don't think.
No. So look out for it this week. If we do get a chance to do it, we'll get it out earlier if we can. But there's no guarantees. Just look out for it on Friday, and we'll review the Rumble in the podcast. But yeah, we've got one more show to review, and it is AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Let's
Dynamite.
go.
So we kicked off with Lestex Gods versus Action Starks. That's what I've called them. As I said, I'm making all the team names now. I rate this 3 1/4 stars. Very good kickoff show. Kickoff to the show. Back and forth. Action Andretti's really good. This is the first time
Yeah.
I didn't watch because we kind of didn't do the podcast for a month. I kind of gave a W unless there was a good rated match a kind of birth.
Yeah.
Action Andretti reminds me of old school Ospreay.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to him kind of progressing, maybe getting a bit bigger. I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't care about Ricky Starks at all. Like every time I see him, I just don't care. Like people are bugging him up, and I'm like, his promos are very like childish, as in like he just thinks of words to call people. Like you
Yeah.
weird nerdy kid, and it's like,
He had one good promo.
yeah,
One.
and his in-ring quality is not great. And he does that stupid flipping thing. Do you remember the old school Undertaker would do?
Yeah.
He does the old school, but he does like the Michael Jackson walk where he's got his hands and his hand. It's like you just see Jericho looking at him like, why am I just standing here while a guy's walking, dancing? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But except for like he's all right in the ring. But yeah, Action Andretti's really good. I like the Sex Gods. And then it ends with Damon Garcia whamming someone with a bat. And he ends up picking up the win for Jericho. Next up, the other Jay Briscoe tribute. I normally skim like the video package, but obviously I watched this. It was very, very good to see. They really did really well with it, like they channeled his career and stuff like that. Some proper like vignette promos. Very good tribute to him. Then next up, we had Darby Allin versus Buddy Murphy in a TNT title match. I rated this 2 1/4 stars, 2 3/4 stars. It was good, but it was also just the typical Darby Allin underdog match with the other guy looking really good and then Darby Allin picking up the win. And then it ended with Joe coming on the Titantron and they're going to have a no disqualification match next week. And Joe basically said he's going to murder Darby Allin. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. The Darby Allin is good for a murder.
Yeah. And then next up, we had Paige and Hardy. I think they're supposed to be the firm, but I don't know if they're the firm. I don't care. Versus Hookboy. Or whatever they're actually calling him.
Jungle Hawk.
Hookboy?
Jungle Hawk.
Nah, Hookboy. Hooker Boys. That's what I'm going to call her.
No.
I rate this 2 3/4 as well. Hook is getting better now, and I think they're giving him a bit of. It's good to see him in full-on matches, like because obviously before he was just fighting randomers and winning in with 7 seconds. Matt Hardy is irrelevant to this whole thing, but they're trying to build this Ego Page versus Matt Hardy storyline, which I don't want to see.
No.
What ends up happening is Jungle Boy. Matt Hardy's going to defeat Jungle Boy with a twist of fate randomly. Then Ego Page says, no, I want to win. And so Matt Hardy throws him down. Ego Page goes for a twist of fate, messes it up, and then he gets him into the snare trap. And then Matt Hardy stretching his arm out, trying to get the tag, even though Ethan Page in the stretch jab. But you can see his arm slowly withdrawing as each and Page get closer and closer. And then Hook pulls him off, and then Page taps anyway. But yeah, that's a thing. Ego Page versus Matt Hardy.
No. Pass.
Next up, we have Family Therapy.
Nice.
Awful segment. Like, basically, the Acclaimed, the Guns, Billy Gunn, and a woman that's trying to be a therapist, but is the worst therapist actor I've ever seen in my life. She just speaks for 1 minute and then basically Billy Gunn takes over and goes, "Why are you doing this? Why are you such childish people?" Then the gun clubs were saying, "You weren't there for us. How can you even think that you were always on the road?" Then you claim we're calling them jokes. And then Billy Gunn was going, "I can't deal with this anymore. What would get you to stop being divs?" And they went, "Them titles." And so they're going to have a tag team title match at some point now. And then all the therapist did was when they said them titles, she just moved her head down like that and looked at the titles. That as a whole contribution to the whole segment. Absolutely awful segment. Brian Cage versus Daniel Bryan. Brian Danielson, that's his name. I rated 3.5 stars. 3.25 stars. I did enjoy it. It's not as good as the other Daniel Bryan matches. Brian Danielson matches in this period he's had. So the whole thing about this was MJF said, "I don't care if you win or lose, Cage. You need to break his arm," and he pays him off last week. And he's just doing arm-based maneuvers like power bombs on his arms, doing back suplex, laying his arm back thingy. Then absolutely beating down Brian. Brian's barely getting any offense in, and then eventually he lifts him for a power bomb, and Brian kind of swoops over and quickly sunset flips him, and it was like a proper desperation pin win. And I really enjoyed it because you don't normally see them as that that's desperation kind of thing. Then after that, Brian Cage attacks Danielson. MGF comes down. They slam his arm into the ring post, wham it in a chair. They're about to break it in the ring, and then here comes Takeshita for the rescue. MGF hightails it, and him and Brian Cage have a proper strike battle. Takeshita wins it, and then does a running knee, but it's like a knee. So a weird curb stomp with his knee. So basically, he's standing up, but he kind of pushes through with his knee, so it's not just a power thing. It's really fun. It's cool to see. Then we had Soho versus Tony Storm. I rate that 2.5 stars. I don't care about either person at the moment. AEW's women's division, they've not built either person, and it's just a random match to me. They've made Storm a bit heelish, which might build her a bit more, but it was a bit I was
going to say, didn't she turn heel last week?
Yeah, because she is a non-AEW original, and they're going against the AEW originals, but also Soho is not an AEW original. I'm really confused. And then what happens in this match is she's about to pick up the win, and then Dr. Britt Baker's injured because this was supposed to be a triple threat. But she comes down on the entrance, does the DMD thing, and then starts walking off because, as soon as someone's music playing, it doesn't matter what's happening in the ring. And then Soho hits a finish, and that kind of Britt Baker's just that happened. Next up, before the main event, we had MJF. He's just talking about, he's the devil and stuff like that. And Takeshita's, he's a good wrestler. But, you've unlocked a dark path now, and you're going to have a match against me, which he's going to be. And then what I really liked is MJF come up with, have you ever watched the film Whiplash?
No.
Very good film with J.K. Simmons. He used a quote from it that you're not. It's about jazz and playing with the drum and stuff, but it's really dark. And he's saying that Takeshita, you're just not playing to my tempo, which is a big line from that film, and I really enjoyed it. And then I don't know if you saw the news. Have you seen who Brian's next matchup is?
Timothy Thatcher.
Timothy Thatcher. Oh yes.
Going to be a banger.
Oh god. Excalibur ruined it. Because Excalibur did the typical Tony Schiavone WCW thing. So MGF went, well, let's roll the clip of who this guy is. Didn't know who it was yet. Then Thatcher's just about to start walking out on camera, in the entrance, and he's going, "Oh my god, who's that? Is that Thatcher?" And it was oh, come on.
Yeah.
Just announce it normally. It was really awkward. And then we came to main event time. This was my match of the night. So backstory to this, we never thought this would ever happen. Obviously due to the Warner issues and stuff like that. But the main event, they had Jay Lethal versus Mark Briscoe. It was really good. So we had Jay Lethal come down first to the ring, he had the Jay Briscoe memorial top. And then Mark Briscoe came down, and the room was absolutely fucking mental.
Yeah.
He came down, he was proper stoked, he just loved it. He had both titles, he was slamming around the ring, everyone was cheering for him. They had the normal Ring of Honor ring announcers doing the announcement on there. they announced Jay Lethal and he's proper like crying. Jay Lethal and it's really hard to watch. Like he's proper tearing up. Whereas Mark Briscoe's like a proper, even though he's obviously he's a proper man's man, isn't he? He won't show his emotion like that. And then they had just one hell of a match. They were showing respect at the start, and then Jay Lethal chops Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe literally goes, it's like that, is it? And he starts chopping him, and then he was chopping the crap out of each other. Battering each other around the ring. Fans were loving it. He did a froggy bow through a table, which I didn't care about. As in, I didn't care that was happening, because of the moment. And then eventually, he keeps going for the J Driller. But Jay Lethal keeps just about reversing out of it. And out of nowhere, he hits the J Driller and picks up the win. And the room flipping goes mental. And then out of nowhere, you see like all the wrestlers on the entranceway. You have the Jay Briscoe memorial kind of image. Everyone clapping, a lot of people teared up and stuff like that. They leave Jay Lethal leaves Mark Briscoe to be in the ring. He goes to the camera and I think it's the Jay Briscoe's daughters he mentions and her son, and he says he loves JJ. And then he rolls out, and then they're all hugging up the ring, and then he lifts the titles at the end, and everyone explodes. It was really good way to then send off Jay Briscoe. And I'm glad Warner decided to do it in the end, because it was just really awkward last week. I don't know if you heard about it. They had to do a taped Jay Briscoe tribute because Warner wouldn't allow it on TV.
No, I did not hear about that.
They had a Jay Briscoe tribute show, but not live. It was and they called in random people and stuff like that, and it was just it felt really awkward that they couldn't mention it. So I'm glad last week they kind of backed it, and Tony Khan probably forced through it, which is good on him. But yeah, good. AEW overall, there was a couple of odd matches that I'm not really a fan of. But overall, the last few weeks, AEW's matches quality's been great. And the show's probably been better. Raw Triple X, if it was just normal Raw, I'd say AEW had the best show, but because it was nostalgic and I loved it, I'd probably say Raw was my favourite this week. And the Usos Zayn versus Judgment Day was my match of the week, I'd say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, thinking about your ratings and how you rated them, I think that was the match of the week. If anyone wants to watch Rampage this week, I believe they did announce a match for Rampage. Was it Hangman Page against Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah, Wheeler. I forgot about that promo. Yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. So that happened. So that's going to happen on Rampage, and then I think we've got Hangman and Moxley next week. Is it?
I don't know if it's next week, but it is planned. I don't know if it's as in they announced it next week. No, they didn't announce it next week because it didn't come up as a graphic, unless they just forgot to show it as a graphic. So it's a big match.
Maybe. In my head, I thought it was next week, but I could well be wrong.
It might be next week. And then also, bigger match, we've got Emi Sakura versus Jamie Hayter on Rampage main eventing.
Main eventing as well, nice. Yep. You're actually going to watch Rampage this week, aren't you? No. Well, that brings an end to the podcast. So we've had fun reviewing this week's wrestling again. So like we said, 3 pretty solid shows. Royal Rumble coming up this weekend. Check out Rampage, because I think both of them matches that we've just talked about will probably be really good. But yeah, have you got anything else you want to add at all, Ray?
We're going to be on Twitch tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow night, when we actually record when this is out, So Twitch tomorrow night. We're probably going to play Zomboid, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we'll be on Project Zomboid. So get on, give us a follow, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff as you usually do with the YouTube channel. Follow us at the HCW Show on Twitter. Follow us all individually. You'll see mine and Rate's Twitter handles just here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm still doing that.
I was going to say, sometimes they're up, sometimes they're side.
No, they're always down now, and the other handles are above your head.
Yeah, and the other handles are above my head up here. So follow us, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, leave us comments. We've got more interviews coming up. We've got the ticket giveaway that is still going on now. So get yourself involved in that for the BCCW show, because that is on February the 10th, the show.
It is, and spoilers, we're going to have 3 reviews on the same day, for that show. So we've got Kamikaze Pro, which we've got someone coming on to do. We've got DP will be doing Purpose, and then I'll be doing BCCW as well.
Nice. Yeah, so if you do get into the ticket giveaway, you will have the chance of meeting our very own Rate Wrestle.
Yeah,
And
watch the subscribers go up now. But...
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, you'll see on other videos and stuff like that, and pinned on the top of our Twitter is how to enter. So get yourselves involved. Chance to win 2 free tickets, general admission to BCCW in February. But yeah, that is a goodbye from myself.
Reach for the sky.
And yeah, not a foreign language from Rate. We'll see you on the next one.